Today we're diving into 10 underrated isekai anime that look so good you'll want to pause every frame. Gorgeous fights, insane worlds, and visuals that slap harder than your Wi-Fi bill. Let's jump right in. Kicking off with number 10, Water Magician. Now this one feels like a fever dream that somehow made it to anime. The visuals? Stunning. We're talking liquid effects so crisp, you'll want to hydrate immediately. The water bending here makes Avatar look like your cousin's backyard sprinkler show. The story follows a magician thrown into a fantasy world where, surprise, surprise, magic is literally everywhere. But unlike the cookie-cutter power fantasies, Water Magician goes heavy on atmosphere. The animation carries entire scenes without a single word. You'll find yourself staring at waves crashing like, damn, that's cleaner than my entire future. Now, is it underrated? Absolutely. Barely anyone talks about it, which is criminal considering the animation budget probably rivaled NASA's. It's slow-paced though, so if you're expecting non-stop explosions and dragons every 5 minutes, calm down, Dragon Ball fan. This anime is more about vibes and artistry. And honestly, sometimes you need an anime that feels like a screensaver you can get lost in. Sliding to number 9, Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy. This one had me laughing, crying, and sometimes questioning the gods themselves. And that's literally the point, because the gods in this anime? Absolute jerks. Like, hey, welcome to another world, but actually you're ugly, so bye. Our boy Makoto gets yeeted into a fantasy realm only to be abandoned and left for dead. But plot twist. He gets ridiculously strong, makes pacts with dragons, and builds a society better than half the countries in the UN. The animation? Sleek. The battles? Over-the-top gorgeous. The comedy? Top tier. It's underrated because people often compare it to Jobless Reincarnation or ReZero, but honestly, it has its own charm. The way Makoto interacts with side characters, whether it's comedy gold or pure badassery, makes it shine. If you love gods getting roasted, overpowered MCs who actually use their brain cells, and animation that'll make you pause mid-binge, this is your jam. Plus, the dragon ladies? Yeah, good luck not simping. Landing on number 8, Fate Grand Order, Absolute Demonic Front, Babylonia. First off, yes, that title is longer than some people's relationships. But don't let the name scare you. This is one of the most visually insane isekai spin-offs out there. The Fate franchise is already known for godlike animation, but Babylonia? They went full flex mode. Every battle looks like it belongs in a theater, not your crusty laptop screen. The clash with Quetzalcoatl? Straight up art. If you pause during those fights, you could hang the frames in a museum and call it modern culture. Story-wise, it throws you into ancient Mesopotamia with Gilgamesh being, well, peak Gilgamesh, arrogant, fabulous, and ready to steal every scene. Is the plot confusing if you haven't played the game? Yes. Does that matter when the animation is melting your eyeballs in 4K glory? Absolutely not. This is underrated because casual fans skip it, but trust me, it's Fate's most cinematic ride. Just maybe don't try to marathon it at 3 a.m. Your brain will tap out. Looking at number 7, Knights and Magic. And no, that's not a typo. They really slapped an apostrophe in there like grammar was optional. But the anime? Pure mecha fantasy gold. Our protagonist is a mecha-obsessed programmer who dies, gets reincarnated, and finally lives the dream of piloting giant robots in a fantasy world. Yes, it's Isekai, but with Gundam-sized spice. The animation? Chef level. The mechs are so polished, they look like Bandai models fresh out the box. Fight scenes are fluid, explosions pop off like New Year's fireworks, and you can practically feel the budget in every frame. The underrated part comes from how it mixes genres. Most fantasy isekai go heavy on swords and spells, but this show said, nah, give me 50-foot murder machines powered by magic. And honestly, it works. It's fast-paced, flashy, and hilarious watching a reincarnated nerd geek out like a kid in Toys R Us. If you love mechs but hate filler arcs, this is a must-watch sleeper hit. Marching in at number 6, The Faraway Paladin. This one fooled me. I expected generic isekai guy with sword, but nope. It hits you right in the feels instead. The story follows Will, a kid raised by undead guardians in a ruined city. Already sounds depressing, right? But here's the catch, it's beautiful. The animation has this almost storybook quality, soft yet detailed, which makes the darker themes land even harder. Watching Will grow up, struggle with faith, and figure out his identity feels like an actual journey, not just another level-up simulator. It's underrated because it doesn't rely on cheap harem tropes or endless fan service. Instead, it builds atmosphere, emotional stakes, and some genuinely breathtaking visuals. Sure, the pacing can feel slower than a One Piece recap episode, but when the action does hit, oh man, it looks phenomenal. The Faraway Paladin is basically proof that Isekai can be heartfelt and gorgeous without needing to throw 20 waifus at you. Respect. Crashing into number 5, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. This anime is like Studio Ghibli took a sad pill. The watercolor backgrounds? Gorgeous. The character designs? Smooth. The feels? Heavy. It starts like your usual isekai. Characters wake up in a fantasy world with no memories, but instead of instantly becoming OP heroes, they actually struggle. Like, really struggle. Goblins aren't pushovers, they're terrifying. Every fight feels like life or death, and the animation sells that tension beautifully. You see the exhaustion, the shaky sword swings, the raw emotion, it's gut-punching. Why underrated? Because it's not a power fantasy. It's about survival, teamwork, and grief. Some fans bounced off it because it's too slow, but honestly, that pacing builds immersion. Plus, the backgrounds are so detailed you could frame them. If you're tired of overpowered protagonists steamrolling everything, Grimgar's raw humanity will hit you harder than your alarm clock on Monday morning. This is the isekai you watch when you want emotions and eye candy. Dropping bombs at number 4, the Saga of Tanya the Evil. This anime is basically, what if a corporate salaryman got reincarnated as a tiny blonde girl who commands armies and hates God? Yeah, it's that wild. Tanya herself is one of the coldest, most terrifying protagonists in isekai. She's sharp, ruthless, and somehow adorable while committing war crimes. The battles, animated like actual war documentaries on steroids. Explosions, aerial combat, spell effects, it all looks way too good for how twisted the story is. It's underrated in the sense that people write it off as edgy for the sake of edgy. But there's real depth here. Tanya's constant chess match with Being X, aka God with a Grudge, is both hilarious and unsettling. It's the perfect mix of jaw-dropping animation and a protagonist you can't decide whether to cheer for or fear. Basically, Saga of Tanya is isekai war drama done right, with visuals that make you forget it's technically about a middle school-sized demon child. Leveling up at number 3, No Game, No Life. This anime is basically what happens when you crank the saturation bar to psychedelic. The colors are so vibrant you'll think your screen settings broke, but it's intentional, and it works. Sora and Shiro, the sibling duo, get transported to a world where everything's decided by games. No violence, no armies, just chess, poker, and battles of wits. Sounds simple, but the animation turns every match into a cosmic event. Cards fly like shooting stars, strategies unfold with fireworks, and the sheer creativity makes your jaw drop. It's underrated because the fandom kind of memed it into oblivion, and the lack of a season 2 left people salty. But visually, it's one of the most unique isekai ever. It's part Death Note mind games, part Willy Wonka acid trip, and all hype. If you love colorful worlds, smart protagonists, and the occasional, did they just cheat reality? Moment. This anime is a feast. Just don't binge it with a hangover. Sliding into number 2, Outbreak Company. Now this one doesn't get nearly enough love, probably because people dismissed it as just another otaku comedy. But guess what? It's secretly brilliant, and the animation is way better than you'd expect. The premise? A hardcore otaku gets sent to another world to literally spread anime, manga, and Japanese pop culture. Yes, cultural export through isekai. And it's hilarious. The clash between fantasy knights and the concept of Mo is pure comedy gold. But beneath the laughs, the show sneaks in clever commentary about culture, politics, and even colonization. Visually, it's polished. The fantasy setting pops with color, character designs are sharp, and the comedy bits are animated with perfect timing. It's underrated because people slept on it, assuming it was fluff. But honestly, Outbreak Company has heart, brains, and just enough absurdity to keep you hooked. If you ever wanted to see elves debate anime tropes, this is your jam. Finally, crowning number 1, Brave Story. And this one, man, this one hurts. Not because it's bad, but because almost nobody talks about it anymore, and that's criminal. It's technically a movie, not a series, but holy animation budget Batman. The visuals are breathtaking. Released in 2006, it still looks cleaner than half the shows airing today. The world building is vibrant, The battles are crisp, and the emotional beats are sold through pure artistry. The story follows Wataru, a boy who enters a fantasy world to change his destiny. Sounds cliché, right? But the execution is anything but. It balances adventure, heartbreak, and growth in a way that hits home. The emotional weight feels like Spirited Away but darker. Why is it underrated? Because it dropped before the Isekai boom and got buried under newer releases. But if you want a one-and-done fantasy adventure with visuals that punch you straight in the nostalgia, Brave Story is a forgotten gem that deserves way more respect. And there you have it, 10 underrated Isekai anime with animation so good, it'll make you question reality. Did your favorite make the list? Or did I miss a hidden gem you swear is peak? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more anime deep dives every week.